We'll be watching round two coming right around dinner time. The snow looks to stay mostly towards northern Maine, northern New Hampshire, the White Mountains getting in on some more snowfall. Great for the ski areas, but then we're going to be looking at mild temperatures moving in and looking at rain and mixing towards the coast. Dry time Tuesday. That is your New Year's Eve night. Should be plenty of fireworks to see out there. Maybe some areas of drizzle. New Year's Day, however, brings in our next system. We're going to watch this one closely. There's still a ton of time between now and then for things to change. Rain for the coast, snow up towards the mountains, which they could use, but then windy conditions set in. At the gusty winds, that can produce some damage. If you're out on the boat, again, this could be bringing in some very gusty winds, making for some dangerous boating conditions. My biggest concern is what's coming in from the west right now. We do have another severe thunderstorm warning that is now tiptoeing into our area, but also it's bad news along the east coast as we have Hatteras right there. The Carolinas are going to be seeing huge wave heights. We are going to be looking at wave heights up to 15 to 20 feet. That is survivable, but you won't like the impacts. This video is from Josh Haynes over in South Paris. He jokes and says, we have a new waterfall here in South Paris. That they did. They have a lot of water that fell in such a short period of time. I looked at some of the totals that they've got, and it looks like, well, just shy of over an inch. Guys, that's not what we wanted. It's not what we needed. We needed a steady rain over the next few weeks, but what we got instead was a lot of heavy rain that's only going to run off. It doesn't have enough time to seep into the soil. So by next week, by Thursday, we are still going to be under a severe drought. Bridgeton, Paris, eventually Turner, New Gloucester. We're going to be tracking some of those heavier showers for you. And if you are out and about, try to move it inside. We are watching a lot of lightning also happening with some of these lines of showers and storms. Heavier snow bands, you can see it all the way from New York pushing on in to New England, but it's going to be now a question of how much of that actually makes it to give us the amounts that we need. Well, as we go through the timing of this will be ramping up as we go into the overnight hours. Crews are continuing to work to restore power. This is great, and they're going to be out. They're out in full force tonight. 4-mile marker 14. We're looking at 95 southbound. This is near Agunquit. We can actually see Agunquit ambulance fire rescue has shown up. They've been on the scene for about 15 minutes or so. We arrived just after the crash was reported. Now I can tell you there is a box truck that's involved. That's all the way off in the median. There is a semi truck that's completely flipped over and jackknifed. There's a sedan. I can't even make out the top of it or what brand, make, model of car it is. The roof is completely ripped off. He was taken to the hospital but died from his injuries, and of course weather conditions are believed to be a factor in the crash. And we've seen a few crashes so far today, that one being so far the worst. But just make sure that you're staying vigilant and making sure that you're keeping plenty of distance between yourself and other drivers. Piles of the heavy concrete, the cement completely collapsed. We're talking about heavy rocks and all the debris that's washed along with it, a tree included. Behind me, that's actually a family's house, and they can't even get out. The river is actually forecast to rise an additional 2 feet, almost 3 feet, by the early morning hours into Thursday. Well, that'll do it for this week's Fall Foliage Report. We'll catch you next week featuring events in your town and, of course, the fall foliage in your region. If you're eager to hit the slopes, resorts like Sunday River have been working hard to get you on. Friday looks to be great. We have Saturday with a few scattered showers coming through, but we're cooling and clearing by Sunday. It should be a great day for the fair with foliage. Well, coming to you from the place that I first learned to ski, today I'm learning how to snowboard at Attitash Mountain, but as I learn, I'll tell you the conditions that you can find at trails across the region. Attitash Mountain Resort in Bartlett, New Hampshire is home to the Mount Washington. As if you're hiking Mount Washington State Park, make sure that you give yourself 8 to 10 hours to hike it round trip, giving you plenty of daylight to hike down safely. Reporting on top of Mount Washington for Maine's Total Weather, I'm Emily Pike. This lighter color here in the rain curtains is probably where you're going to find some of that hail. At this point, the warning does include hail up to golf ball size. On the window and show you what's piling up outside along the car. It's a lot of the ice and the snow, and of course you had the sleet. Now I want to show you guys what we're seeing outside of Tracker 8. We are looking at the front view. A lot of the cars have been moved because Portland is under a parking ban. The crop is as good and as healthy as it's going to get. They've been making sure it's watered every day for as much as they can, and coming up at 6, despite some of the showers that we've actually seen today, it's not enough. But we'll talk to you more about how much could be enough to get us out of this drought. Reporting right now in New Gloucester for Maine's Total Weather, I'm Emily Pike.
Imagine what that feels like for your pet. According to Tracker 8, right now the outside temperature is 90 degrees, but with the added humidity, it feels closer to 98. But I roll the window up, turn the car off entirely, and it gets closer to 100 degrees in just 10 minutes.
The only sad thing I can mention is that there is a wedding going on at this time, and I know that there was a lot of people outside when the storms were rolling in. It's always a reminder to just remember when severe storms are in the forecast to have a plan in place before the storms roll in.
I'm in Yarmouth along the Royal River where the drought is worsening. Much of the state now is under a moderate drought, and the river levels are at some of the lowest for this time of the year.
December 2023 floods. Water rose to 17 feet, putting water into the Roke building basement. It rose even more than that during the day, and it rose up to about 22 feet, just shy of the Longley Bridge. So now you'll have to take action sooner than before. You'll want to make sure that you're not just getting the roof, but also the back, the sides, the mirrors, the front of the car so you can see. And did you know if you live in Maine or New Hampshire, both states have completely different laws? Now, if you live along the river, you want to make sure that you're monitoring the levels. To do that, go to the National Weather Service of Gray's website, click on Rivers and Lakes. You'll be brought to an interactive map that'll show you all the rivers and what their levels are. This will help you take action sooner than later, because when all this ice goes, the next threat comes along.